Imagine losing your homeland, your ultimate freedom.
Yeah. And even your constitutional rights.
Right. But not to, like, a foreign army with tanks. It's to a kid in short pants who just stole your marbles.
It sounds absurd, but it's so real.
So welcome to today's deep dive. You and I are jumping into excerpts from Ferenc Molnár's 1907 novel, The Paul Street Boys.
Which is just a brilliant piece of literature.
It really is. And our mission today is to unpack how this simple 20th century Budapest children's turf war perfectly captures these deep, timeless themes.
Themes like loyalty, betrayal, and, really standing up to tyranny.
Exactly. So let's establish the setting here. We've got this vacant lot in Budapest.
Right. The kids call it the Arsa. And for the Paul Street Boys, this isn't just an empty patch of dirt. It is their country.
Their whole world, really.
Yeah. And they are under constant threat from this rival gang, the Red Shirts, who are led by this pretty fearsome kid named Ferenc.
But what really strikes me about this conflict isn't the physical violence. It's the weird formality of it all.
Oh, the Einstein.
Yes! There's that scene where the stronger pastor brothers just walk up to the weaker kids playing marbles. They confiscate the marbles, and they just declare one single word. Einstein.
It's chilling in a way.
It is. It feels like, I don't know, eminent domain, but enforced by a playground bully.
Well, that formality is actually super crucial. Einstein isn't just random theft,
Right. It has rules.
Exactly. By using a specific recognized term, they give their aggression this sort of veneer of legality. It's an unwritten playground law where the strong justify stripping the weak of their rights.
Basically establishing martial law based entirely on who's bigger.
Yeah, exactly that.
I am struggling to reconcile one thing here, though.
What's that?
Well, on one hand, you have this incredibly heavy martial law threat happening outside, but inside, the Paul Street Boys are, they're entirely distracted by the putty club.
Oh, right. The famous putty club?
They secretly scrape window putty and then have to chew it all day so it doesn't dry out. It just feels like this absurd, silly childhood distraction. I don't see the geopolitical connection there.
It is absurd, but it's actually a classic case of goal displacement.
How so?
Well, the club's original purpose might have been to build camaraderie, to protect their turf. But chewing the putty and enforcing all these little club rules.
It just became a self-sustaining bureaucracy.
Yes. Protecting the putty literally became more important than protecting the homeland itself.
Which leads to just disastrous consequences. They get so obsessed with their internal paperwork and club bylaws that they actually brand their most loyal member, little Nemecsek, a traitor.
Just for missing a meeting.
Right.
And it perfectly mimics blind adult bureaucracy. Because the officers are so busy punishing kids for, putty chewing infractions, they're totally blind to what's really happening.
Which is that a high-ranking officer, Jareb, is actively selling them out.
He's literally selling their beloved lot to the Red Shirts.
So because the leadership is completely failing, it falls to the lowest-ranking kid in the whole army to do the actual recon work.
Nemecsek.
Yeah, Nemecsek. And he's the only unranked private in the entire Paul Street group, right?
The only one. Everyone else just gave themselves an officer title.
Of course they did.
And that status defines his whole experience. He's small. He's constantly overlooked. He literally spends a good chunk of the story soaking wet.
Oh, yeah, from falling into the greenhouse pond while spying on the enemy.
Right. Yet despite his lack of rank, he is the one who uncovers Jareb's treason.
And the payoff for his bravery is arguably the best scene in the text. So Nemecsek is hiding in a tree, dripping wet, secretly listening to the terrifying Red Shirts hold a meeting.
And instead of staying hidden,
he drops right down, right into the middle of them to single-handedly reclaim his group's stolen flag.
He faces down an entire army, including Ferenc, completely alone. It's amazing.
It really is.
And it proves a point that the Putty Club completely missed,
Yeah.
Character and bravery, they aren't handed down with a title or an officer's badge.
No, they're really not. It makes you wonder how many Nemecseks you might be ignoring in your own office or your own life just because they don't have a senior title.
That's a great point.
We tend to praise the loud officers and just completely overlook the quiet privates who are actually keeping the whole thing together.
There's a tragic irony at the end of this whole struggle, too.
Yeah.
The text notes that a massive 4-story apartment building now stands exactly where the Arsa once was.
Oh, wow.
So the lot they fought so hard to defend, it was eventually just paved over by city development.
Which leaves you with this to consider. If the physical ground we fight for is eventually lost to time, where does the true value actually lie?
Is it the space itself?
Right. Or is it in the unbreakable moral code we forge while defending it? We might eventually lose the physical map, but, the courage it took to draw those borders stays with us forever.